Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of the Rewiring Your Brain World Summit. We've had an amazing journey so far, and the journey continues. Every day here is just packed with incredible experts exploring all the different ways we can rewire our brains or reshape our neural architecture to heal trauma, heal attachment wounds, to optimize our brain health and function for optimal health and well-being, life performance, happiness, longevity. It's really an exciting time to be alive with the current neuroscience and everything we know about how we can really take charge of our own lives. And so it's very exciting. And we're thrilled to be here with you for another day. Thank you so much for being part of this summit. And I'm going to lead another session of neuro-somatic mindfulness. So if this is your first session, you can jump right in. I'm not going to go back and cover all the preparatory ground that I covered the first day. And if you're interested in that, these sessions will be part of the lifetime access upgrade package. And I'm also offering my neurosomatic mindfulness course is also available here. So at any rate, you'll be able to jump right in with this. And today we're going to focus on the musculature. So neurosomatic mindfulness is a deeply embodied, neuroscientifically informed approach to classic mindfulness and awareness meditation. And I believe it will help anyone advance their practice, whether you're brand new to the practice, whether you've been practicing for several years, or even advanced practitioners. And we've gotten this feedback from thousands of people that by taking this deeply embodied, neuroscientifically informed approach to the practice, it really changes everything. And rather than struggling with thoughts or struggling with the activity or discursive thinking, we're learning to tap into the body's innate capacity to auto-regulate itself into deep attention stabilization and profound states of awareness for healing and for awakening. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So I encourage you to take a posture that for you feels relatively uplifted and upright. If for any reasons of physical limitations, you need to do this standing up, lying down, or leaning against the back of a chair for support, please do what works for you. But if you are able to sit up on a chair or cushion with a relatively uplifted, upright posture, I encourage you to do that. It'll be helpful. Extending the crown of your head up towards the ceiling a bit. Shifting your head back just a little bit so it's sitting squarely over your spine, maybe chucking the chin just slightly. You can leave the lips slightly parted as if you're about to say ah. That way the breath will move freely through the nose and the mouth. And if you like, you can place your tongue on the roof of your mouth, the upper palate just behind the upper front teeth. And that way you'll breathe primarily through the nose, unless your sinuses are blocked for some reason. Now, if any of you are real aficionados of meditation practices, some meditation practices are done with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, some with the tongue resting on the floor of the palate, and some or the mouth, and some with the tongue free floating. They all have different purposes, different reasons, and we get deeply into all that in the neurosomatic mindfulness course. But to begin with here, I would suggest lips slightly parted, tongue on the roof of the mouth. Sitting upright means that we have a slightly concave quality in the lower back rather than hunching out, right? And you might want to move side to side, front to back a little bit. Just find that place where you can sit with greater ease, where the vertebrae kind of all line up, stack up, and you can sit with an upright posture with less effort. And if you're new to the practice, it takes a little while for your muscles to get used to sitting up straight, because very often we're not used to sitting up straight, and it's always helpful to improve our posture in this way. Letting the shoulders relax, the arms relax, and really letting the entire body relax as much as possible around this upright, uplifted posture. Having established your posture, I invite you to close your eyes. And again, many practices are done with eyes open, either gaze up or gaze down, and some are done with eyes closed. In general, as we go forward, I teach eyes open practice, but to begin with, we begin with our eyes closed, because an important part of this practice is activating our capacity for interoceptive awareness or interoception, which is a fancy word that stands for internal perception, tapping into the body's capacity to feel itself from the inside out. And it's helpful to have the eyes closed to activate that. And we're really going to be exploring the internal landscape of the body today. So I encourage you to close the eyes. And if that's uncomfortable for you for any reason, you could just lower the eyes to reduce the amount of visual input or distraction. Then I invite you to begin bringing your attention to the body, gently bringing your attention to the body. And by body, what we're talking about are the actual physical sensations that make up the experience we call body. Body itself is just a word, a concept. There really is no such thing as a body in terms of a concept, but there is this lived experience, this moment-to-moment lived experience of physical sensation and other sense perceptions that we call body. So you're invited to really drop in and feel all the different sensations continually arising and falling away within this energetic field that we call the body. You may wish to begin with the sensations at the contact points between your body and the chair, your feet and the ground. Contact between your skin and your clothing, the weight of your clothing, the texture of your clothing. Contact between any exposed skin surface areas and any movement of the air where you are. Maybe there's air conditioning where you are, or sensations of warmth or coolness. And the passage of air across the nostrils and parted lips with each in-breath and out-breath. So gradually connecting the dots with all these sensations all across the surface of the skin from head to toe. Back, sides, front, bottom, top. And beginning to feel yourself enveloped in a field of sensate experience, the contact between your body and the surrounding space. And as we're doing the practice, anytime you find your mind wandering off, your attention drifting, just gently bring it back. We don't beat ourselves up about that. That's completely counterproductive. In fact, we don't even need to have a dialogue with ourselves about it. We just come back. If our attention has wandered, we just come back. And each time we come back, we drop further and further into directly feeling the body, the sensations that make up the experience we call body. So beginning with all the sensations on the surface of the skin from head to toe, feeling ourselves enveloped in a sensate field, the contact between our body and the space surrounding us, which we generally imagine or assume to be empty, but actually we know that it's not. It's made up of gases, it's tangible, and we can feel ourselves held by that space. And I encourage you to imagine yourself held by a benevolent space. And through bringing our attention again and again to this field of external sensation on the surface of the skin, we weave a womb-like structure of exquisite attentiveness in which we can experience safety and we can relax and really feel ourselves held. And then within that womb-like structure of external sensation, we'll begin exploring the internal field of sensate experience. We actually experience internal sensation and external sensation through two different neural networks. Sensations on the surface of the skin travel through a neural network to the brain that's highly myelinated, and thus the sensations move very quickly, and we're very sensitive to touch. Internal sensations move through separate neural networks that are less myelinated, and therefore the sensations move a little less quickly, and we experience them as subtler generally. It's a more subtle field of sensation, but nonetheless very experiential. So to begin with, just feeling the overall weight and mass of the muscles and bones, feeling the force of gravity holding us down on the earth. Feeling all the sensations related to the breath. The diaphragm muscle contracting and relaxing. The abdominal muscles contracting and relaxing. The rib cage opening and closing. The intercostal muscles between the ribs, helping the rib cage open and close with each in-breath. So just tuning into whatever you can feel in the body. Finding the heartbeat. And being open to any feelings of discomfort. This is very important. We're all aware of interoceptive awareness, whether we knew the term or not. It's how we know when we're sleepy or tired or hungry or when we need to use the restroom. It's how we experience pain and discomfort. The challenge is that absent some form of discomfort, we generally ignore the internal landscape of the body. And thus we live very disembodied lives, mostly up in our head, as we know, with a very discursive, active mind and very visually and auditorily oriented to the external world. So here we're really dropping back into the body and reclaiming the body, our home. We're coming home to the body. And discomfort is part of our ongoing experience. All sense perceptions arise across the spectrum from pleasant to neutral to unpleasant. That's just the way it is. And we tend to be hardwired to constantly chase comfort and pleasure and withdraw from or avoid or push away discomfort and pain. And that keeps us locked into a very mechanical way of living. We actually share that way of being with all animals. So it's in some sense a very animal level being, a very habituated mechanical way of being. So one of the tried and true strategies for awakening is to lean into discomfort, to embrace discomfort. We're not looking for discomfort. We're not punishing ourselves in any way, shape, or form. It's just part of our experience. So we can make the conscious choice to embrace the full spectrum of being alive in a body that includes discomfort, and just be willing to accept that with courage. And in doing so, we reclaim our dignity as conscious human beings. I choose to embrace the totality of my embodied experience as it is in the moment, with curiosity, openness, non-judgment. So yesterday we worked with the skeletal structure. So I invite you to begin there for a moment and just sort of flash an internal visualization of your skeleton. Whatever image you might have from seeing a plastic skeleton in a chiropractor's office or at the orthopedic surgeon, or images out of a book or a film. And with your eyes closed, just get a sense of that skeletal structure from head to toe. Maybe move your fingers and toes a minute, feel the bones in the feet and the hands. And then get a sense of the bones in your lower legs and upper legs, and your lower arms and upper arms, and the pelvic saddle, and then the spine running all the way up to the rib cage area, and then further up, supporting the skull, protecting the brain. And just get a feel for that entire skeletal structure supporting our body. And now we're going to feel into the musculature that is connected to the skeletal structure. Tuning into the musculature from head to toe. Feeling the weight of the muscles. Now, muscles store kinetic energy. So when we're at rest, we can spring into because the muscles store energy. And we can begin to feel that energy. If we're, let's say, running a marathon and we hit that wall, that means the muscles become completely depleted. But sitting here, your muscles are not depleted. They're actually storing kinetic energy, and you can feel that. As you really tune in, it's kind of like a fine-tuned motor car, even like a race car at idle. Or if you've ever seen images of a big cat in the wild, a lion, a tiger, cheetah, you can just see that energy rippling under the skin. So feeling that stored kinetic energy in the muscles of the feet and lower legs, the major muscle groups of the upper legs, all the back muscles and abdominal muscles. Feeling the movement of the abdominal muscles with each in-breath and out-breath. Feeling the movement of the diaphragm muscle, which contracts, creating a vacuum in the lungs, which draws the air in, and then it relaxes, allows the air to release. And then again, feeling the intercostal muscles, which allow the rib cage to open and close with each in-breath and out-breath. Feeling the neck muscles supporting our head, our skull. Feeling the muscles in our shoulders, back, upper back, lower back, upper arms, lower arms. Just feeling into, really just bringing your attention again and again. And if you like, you can do it globally to your entire musculature. And you could also work your way up. You could start with muscles in the feet and just slowly work your way up from the feet to the lower legs, the upper legs, feeling that kinetic energy stored in the muscles. And you may have to imagine it at first. We can use our imagination here because we're working within the whole body-mind spectrum here. And imagination is part of that. And that can be like priming the pump so that you can actually directly experience the kinetic energy of the muscles, as well as the overall weight of the muscles. Continuing up through the hips and up through the back, all the back muscles, abdominal muscles, through the chest, again, the intercostal muscles, the upper back with those muscles, through the shoulders, down through both arms, and again, the neck muscles supporting the head. Our capacity for interoceptive awareness is based on the fact that the entire body is sensory. The entire body, all the way down to the bones and including the bones. The hard outer white layer of the bones, which we might think is inert, but it's not, it's living tissue, called the periosteum, contains neuronal cells connected to the central nervous system, as does the marrow of the bones, as does our musculature, connective tissue, tendons, ligaments, vital organs, our entire body. Our entire body is sensory. So that's what we're feeling into right now. And I encourage you, to the best of your ability, to drop into direct feeling. Direct feeling. We might have a sense of observing our experience, a sense of here I am, I'm observing the breath, I'm observing the body, or even I'm feeling the body. I'm feeling sensation. So I encourage you to relax the eye and see if you can just drop into direct feeling, just feeling, without there being a need for someone who's feeling. Just be with the direct sensations. Feel them directly. This is part of the arc of neurosomatic mindfulness. We go from witnessing or observing our experience, which is an incredibly important development, to a direct experience where we're dissolving that separate watcher or separate observer, and then simply into being. So with the breath, we go from observing the breath to directly experiencing breath, to directly feeling breath, to just being breath, to just being the breath. And you may find yourself slipping back into witnessing, that's fine, but just knowing that there's this arc of continually dropping into a less and less dualistic approach to the practice, collapsing the subject-object divide and dropping into direct experience and into being. So continue to explore feeling the muscles from head to toe. See if you can really feel that stored kinetic energy in the muscles. Another arc with this practice is we're moving from self-directed self-regulation, which requires some effort. We're directing our attention. And when we notice our attention has wandered, we bring it back. That's called attention switching. We notice our attention has shifted into discursive thinking or some other distraction, and we switch it back to the object of mindfulness and awareness, which in this case is the actual sensations that make up the experience we call body, and in particular, the sensations we can experience with the musculature of the body right now. So that requires a gentle effort. And as we're doing so, our body-mind system is getting a lot of data, and we're aware of that because we're coming into nowness and wakefulness. And the body is learning through a process of internal neural biofeedback to auto-regulate itself into attention stabilization and deep awareness. So we're moving from self-directed self-regulation to auto-regulation into pure presence, pure being. It's another arc of this practice. So we're moving from effort, gentle effort, to effortlessness. We're moving from doing to being. And neurobiologically, part of what's facilitating that is by really focusing our attention on feeling the body, like unifying our attention, our awareness, and the body. Sometimes called synchronizing body and mind. That's what one of my first teachers called it, synchronizing body and mind. We're facilitating the shift from the default mode network of the brain, which is responsible for our very busy discursive thinking, to the task positive network, which is activated when we focus our attention. And these two networks are to one degree mutually inhibitory. So to the extent that we bring the task positive network online, the default mode network starts to go offline naturally. So we don't have to struggle with our thoughts. We're not trying to get rid of thoughts. We just let thoughts come and go. And the more we unify our mind, our attention, our awareness with the direct experience of sensation in the body, we're naturally activating the task positive network, and the default mode network quiets down. And we notice our mind quieting down. We've probably all had the experience, I'm sure we've all had the experience of doing something that required intense focus, like trying to thread a needle, or maybe screw in something we were fixing, or something that really required intense focus. And at least for a moment, our mind got very quiet. We may not have been able to sustain that, but for a moment, our mind got very quiet. Well, that's the experience of this shift from the active default mode network to activating the task positive network, which then deactivates to one degree or another the default mode network. So feeling into the body as deeply as you can, feeling the muscles in this case, feeling the energy of the muscles, feeling the weight of the muscles. And you could continually scan throughout the body if you want to focus in on particular muscles and really try to feel a particular muscle as deeply as you can. It's up to you to really explore your own embodied experience. And in your regular practice, I encourage you to take the time to do that. You can do what's called a body scan, where you're moving through the body, and you could focus it on the musculature and really feeling into each muscle as deeply as you can. In meditation, we can work with any sense perception, physical sensation, sight, sound, smell, taste. We can take thoughts as the object of mindfulness. That's very difficult practice because their thoughts are sticky and we get caught up and lose our awareness. We can work with space, we can work with mind, we can work with really any part of our experience, emotions. However, the easiest and the most direct, the most available anchor that anchors us in the present moment is our experience of sensation, experience of what we call the body. And this deeply embodied approach to the practice is a direct portal into the deepest states of awareness, the most profound states of awareness. Body and mind are not separate, they're on a spectrum. And we start with the very gross physical sensations of the body. But as we go deeper and deeper, we're going into subtler and subtler and subtler physical sensation. And then really we're moving into subtle mind and into pure being, pure consciousness, pure spirit, what have you. And the body is the portal. So I encourage you to keep working with developing your practice to be more and more embodied, really feeling into the entire body, the bones, the musculature, circulatory system, vital organs, lymphatic system, glands, every part of the body. So thank you very much for jumping in and exploring this practice today. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Michael Stone now, who's going to lead us in a session of breathwork. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, Philippe. Good to see you.
So hopefully people are ready for the breathwork after really dropping into the body for the last 30 minutes. So they should be ready to go. So I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Hello, everybody. And thank you for tuning in this morning to participate in this meditation and breathwork. And so today what I'm going to do is, first of all, talk a little bit about breathwork just for a few minutes. I know many of you may have not experienced it before or just experienced it a couple of times. And then we're going to give you a short little taster session, just about 7 minutes. And then we'll complete. So just as an introduction, breathwork is not something new. It's not like a new development in society that people just figured out. It's been around for millennia. And in ancient and prehistorical societies, breath was used as one of the principal tools for healing practice and self-realization. So it's reflected in their practices, it's reflected in their languages. And for example, in Chinese Chi means the air that we breathe and also the energy of life. In Greek, pneuma means both air or breath and spirit, and it goes on. So what's different today is just that the technology has changed. People have changed a bit since caveman times. So we can present breathwork in a way that's much more accessible to people, and much more where it's easier to have these experiences. And so I was originally in holotropic breathwork and then created my own modality about 5 years ago that was doable online, so really could bring it to the world. And I call it neurodynamic breathwork. It's a 1 hour experience. The whole workshop is 2 hours, where there's an introductory talk to make sure people really understand all the experiences they have. There's a breathwork, and then there's a sharing circle at the end where people can share their experiences. So, but again, today we're just going to do a little taster session. And the basic principles of this breathwork are, well, the primary one is that everybody has, I call it an inner guiding intelligence. Other people can call it connection to source, or intuitive sense, or future self, or, but whatever you call it, it's basically in the same way that our body knows exactly how to heal itself. Our mind doesn't have to figure it out. If we get sick or if we get cut, our psyche also has that same drive towards wholeness, integration, and health. It's just that we get in the way of really allowing it to do what it needs to do. We're constantly in having these thoughts of catastrophizing and what could go wrong, and sending cortisol into our system. And so it's very difficult to really tune into this quiet inner voice from the deeper parts of our psyche. And so today we're going to use breath and music just to quiet the ego mind a bit. And, Fleet talked about how to do it through meditation. This is just a different pathway. And, when you do deeper breathing, as we're going to do today, you create certain physiological changes in your body that quiet the default mode network and really kind of slow down these thousands of thoughts that are passing through our mind and really allow us to drop more into our bodies. So the two basic principles are trust and surrender. So the underlying, again, the underlying principle is we're connecting to this inner guidance that we all have. So this type of breath work that I've created, it's non-guided. And when I say non-guided, it's just non-guided by me as a facilitator. And the purpose is for people to tune into their own guidance. So in other words, for the experience to be brought up from within. And whatever experience you're supposed to have today, that's exactly the experience you will have. So you don't want to try to guide the experience. You don't want to try to push it one direction or another. You just want to allow whatever wants to happen to happen. And so the ultimate goal in this breathwork is, and the way I've created it, like I do 5 or 6 live sessions every week. So it's really to allow people to turn it into a practice, but to start to strengthen that neural pathway to their own inner guidance, to their own power. And to get into a place where when you go into your everyday life, you can access the intuition, the creativity, the inner guidance much more easier. So when you're making a decision, rather than trying to figure it out, you more like tune into what feels right, what's really the direction that my true being wants to go in, rather than weighing the pluses and the minuses and getting stuck in that. So, and it really does work. It's like more than 3/4 of people do report that they do get this better connection to their inner guidance, along with alleviating anxiety, depression, trauma, and all kinds of other stuff. So today, again, we're going to be doing about a 7-minute session, and the music will be more gentle than it would be in like a real neurodynamic 1 hour session, where there's a very specific scientific trajectory to the music. And it starts out with music that has like a beat to it. And then if people need to really release physically, that supports them in that. It comes to this more emotional piece where it comes to this peak, and then it comes down into a very gentle completion. And so the music is a support for allowing people to drop into whatever they need to. And the important thing is that, let's say a piece of music comes on and your thinking mind's going, I don't like this music. And what you want to do is just drop into that emotion, drop into the, it's like, and really allow yourself to feel, what it feels like to be resistant to something and to, not like it, but just be with it, be with that feeling. We always suppress those feelings. Any feeling that's negative, we tend to suppress into our body. And ultimately it creates this, our body is spending so much time on an everyday basis just trying to push through these kind of blockages that we resist, that it doesn't have the kind of energy that it's supposed to have to really make us feel truly alive and excited to just be in this amazing incarnation that we are every day. So it's kind of like, instead of waking up in the morning and feeling like, oh, I can't wait to get up and just experience life, if you suppress too many of these kind of negative emotions into your body, it's more like, where's my coffee? I can't wake up. So, so anytime something comes up, whether it's just, I love this music, just kind of dive into that feeling, or, oh, this music has too much beat to it, or too much this, or too much that, just allow yourself to feel that too. And it's just a practice in really connecting to your feelings, to your emotions, just allowing yourself to fully feel them, not letting them, kind of just take you over, but just allowing yourself to fully feel them and let them flow through and then flow out of your body. Anytime you fully experience something, it leaves and then something else takes its place. The reason we get so stuck is we're resisting feeling certain things or resisting being with certain things that are happening in our inner world. So even in this short session today, I just encourage you, go in without any expectations, just breathe, let whatever wants to happen. If you feel blissful, that's fine. If you feel like crying, that's fine. If your body wants to move a little bit, let it move. If sounds want to come out, let them come. And really just turn it over to your body and let it express itself in whatever way it wants to. And the interesting thing is that emotions, we always have this kind of, this is a good emotion, I want to feel this. This is a bad emotion, I don't want to feel this. And emotions are just really your way of your body talking to you, basically. It's the language of the body, tell you, hey, something's going on here. So it's always kind of being, when you can just tune into those emotions, you can really see what's happening in your inner world. And if you tune into discomfort, it'll release and something else will take its place. If you tune into resistance, it'll release and something will take its place. If you tune into frustration and really allow yourself to feel the frustration, it'll just release and you feel in a very gentle place afterwards. So again, just whatever wants to happen, let it happen. And just focus on the breath and just be. Nothing to do, no place to go. Just be with whatever is in this moment. Your mind is always in the future planning or in the past remembering. Your body is always in the now, is the only place that life really happens. Okay, so again, today we're going to be doing just a very short session. The music will have a little bit of a beat to it, and it's again, in the actual sessions, it would have more of a beat to it, just and then just to really support your body and wanting to move. But today, like, we're toning it down into a more gentle session. And the breathing technique is basically as follows. You want to breathe in and out through the mouth, not the nose. And this is not a technique that you're going to be using in your everyday life. This is specifically designed for neurodynamic breath work. And there's two reasons we do mouth breathing. The first is you want to move more air than normal in the beginning of the music, or in this case, it's only 7 minutes. When it's an hour, I say in the beginning of the music. And there's two purposes to that. One is it starts to create certain physiological changes in your body as you get more air. Stuff's going on that supports your thoughts quieting down. And the second thing is, whenever you're in a state of release, your body always switches automatically to mouth breathing, even in your everyday life. If you start to cry, your body will switch to mouth breathing. If you're angry, mouth breathing. So it kind of gives your body permission to release. So you want to do mouth breathing, again, in and out, and you want to breathe fully and deeply. So when you breathe in, your belly gets pushed out. When you breathe out, it just goes back to normal. So Breathing full deep. Just like that. And just a normal rhythm is fine. In the regular, full hour breathing session, we have people breathe a little bit faster than normal. But for this exercise, just do it at normal pace. And so what it'll look like is like this. So you can see my belly gets pushed out when I breathe in. And then it goes back out. And just at a normal rhythm is totally fine. And you want to breathe in a way where there are no gaps, where you're always breathing in or breathing out, just creating a wonderful circle of breath. And breathe in a way where there's no tension. So you're not stressing your shoulders out or your hands. Make it a full, deep, but enjoyable breath. Kind of like the way that I imagine it when I start my breathing is I've just woken up in the morning. I'm just happy to be alive and I'm just taking in the air. Not stressful, just full, deep, but enjoyable breath. And you want to stay focused on the breath. Again, it's about 7 minutes, and the last minute or two just gets kind of very soft and gentle. And at that point, if your breath wants to just go down the normal rhythm, that's totally fine. Or you can stay with the deeper breathing till the music's totally complete. Then we'll be done. And I'll just do a couple minute little meditation at the end. If you just want to keep your eyes closed for a couple minutes, I'll just do just a couple minutes just to reground you and bring you back. All right. So let's get started. And one more thing I want to cover is types of experience in breathwork. And today it'll probably be more of a gentle experience. You may have a little bit of emotions, but basically fairly gentle. In the hour sessions, like the types of experiences, first of all, there's a sensory release where your body just wants to release tension, and it does it in 3 ways. One is temperature changes. You might get hot or cold, or your body first tenses your body up automatically by itself, intrinsically, just to get the best release. So let's say if you have a tension in your shoulder, it might get more tense, then release. Your body could get a little bit like just numb in one place, and then the feeling comes back as it's moving energy that's stuck. So sensory releases are the first thing. You might get emotional releases, where you just kind of either just this joy or bliss or sadness or crying or whatever. You might move around a little bit as your body wants to move to the music or make sounds. And just kind of, sometimes people just tone to the music or, any type of sound that wants to come out. Sometimes people get visuals where they get kind of scenes that happen in their head, like biographical experiences where they go back to a childhood experience, but see it from a different perspective, more empowering perspective, where it's really, they see something they gain from it instead of something that's holding them back in their lives, or feel like they're going into past lives, or feel connected to the universe, or feel like just dissolved into everything, or more self-love, or a rebirthing experience can happen. It's the most traumatic thing that will ever happen to you, your birth process. So all of those experiences are available in these hour sessions. But today, it'll probably be much more gentle than that. But again, you may get it like a little piece of one experience or the other. And also in the longer experiences, sometimes people get something, it's called tetany, where their fingers get stiff a bit and then release, and that's also a normal experience. Okay, so let's get started. So you want to listen to this in whatever way you get the best sound quality. So if you have it over your headset, awesome. If you're on a phone and you just want to use earbuds, that works also. So just whatever way you can get the best sound quality. And also, you just want to make sure you won't be disturbed for the next 7 or 8 minutes. And during this 8 minutes, you want to keep your eyes closed or put a little eye mask on. And either way is fine, but it's a closed eye experience. Opening your eyes really just takes you out of the experience and back into your everyday world. So eyes closed, just focusing on the breath, and listening to the music, and just allowing the music just to penetrate you. That's it. You don't have to, just to flow through your body. You don't have to focus on the music. It's just kind of there, just being with the breath and just allowing whatever wants to happen. And that's it. Okay, so I'll just give you a few seconds just to get set up. Again, you're going to want to either close your eyes or put an eye mask on. You're going to just close your door, make sure you won't be disturbed, and just kind of ground yourself and just start to relax. And I know you've already had a meditation from Fleet, so you already are quite relaxed in your body. So let me get the music share set up here. Well, I'm just giving you a few seconds to get your space set up. Okay. So at this point, you want to close your eyes. Take a deep breath and let it out. Just bring your attention into your body, letting go of what happened earlier today, letting go of what's going to happen later, just being in the moment, in the now. And just taking a short amount of time just to scan your body and see if there's any tension you can release in this moment. So just starting with the feet, relaxing the feet, and then just mentally visualizing each body part and visualizing any tension just release into the universe from your calves, your upper legs, your torso, chest, face, just relaxing the jaw muscles, forehead muscles. Giving your shoulders a stretch, maybe wiggling your fingers around. Just being as relaxed as you can in this moment. And now bringing your attention to the breath and deepening the breath. Starting to take full deep breaths in and out of the mouth, but keeping your body relaxed. Breathing fully and deeply, deeply and fully, fully and deeply. Staying with the breath, staying with the breath. And now breathing in a way where there are no gaps, where you're always breathing in or breathing out, just creating a wonderful circle of breath. And just keeping it at normal pace. You don't have to breathe faster. Just full, deep, enjoyable breaths. Taking in the breath of life. If it feels right on the out breath, sometimes people like to make a little sound or a little sigh. Just start to really feel into what the body wants to do. Breathing fully and deeply, deeply and fully, fully and deeply. Staying with the breath, staying with the breath. And now just allowing whatever wants to happen. As we get into the music, if your body wants to be in stillness, that's fine. Again, if it wants to move a little bit, let it do so. Letting go of control, surrendering, and just being with the breath and the music. In a moment, the music will begin. Have a wonderful journey. Now, if you haven't done so already, just slowing down the breath to a normal rhythm, just taking a moment to be with yourself. Just watching the breath, being very gentle space, and present, still. We almost never take time out of our lives just to be in a place of stillness. Nothing to do, no place to go. Just being in this moment, in the now. And just noticing what's happening right in this moment. You feel any tingling in your hands or your body? Your thoughts come and go. Staying present. And if it feels right, maybe crossing your arms over your chest, giving yourself a big hug, sending yourself love and compassion. Being with yourself in a very sweet, tender way. And when you're ready, if you haven't already done so, you can open your eyes. If you want to keep them closed a few minutes longer, it's fine. But when you open them, just open them with a very soft gaze, very gentle gaze. At the end of the session, you can just take that energy out with you back into your life. And if you do want to try a full-on session, I offer free sessions to everybody at breathworkonline.com if you want to do a whole hour breathing shot. And also just want to wish you a wonderful day at the summit. We've got lots of wonderful speakers today. And at this point, sending much love to everybody. And again, thank you so much for participating. And if you've been here the last couple of days, you'll notice today was the first day that I actually used human voice in the music. So you might have just noticed, how did it feel different than the last couple of days where it was just music and beat, but actually no human voice. And just see how that felt to have a woman's voice in the first couple minutes. All right, so we'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same station, and we'll be, as we did yesterday, letting people into the room for sharing after the breath work. So you can share or ask questions about the Pleats meditation or the breath work. And so we'll see you then.